What they did is they took a bunch of dogs, let's call them the green dogs. They put them in a cage and half the floor was electrocuted. They were literally like electrocuting the dogs. And the dog, of course, will feel pain and they will jump across this little barricade into safety where the floor is not electrocuted. They took another bunch of dogs and they had the same experiment, except that when the dogs jumped to the other side of the cage was also electrocuted. So the dogs really couldn't do anything. No matter what decision they made, it would still be electrocuted. So they would jump around trying to escape from the pain, but they really couldn't escape from the pain because the entire floor was electrocuted. At some point, they will accept defeat and they will basically say, well, there's no point in effort anymore. I'm just going to lay down and accept the pain and deal with the pain. In other words, they had lost their agency. Now, here's the interesting part of the experiment. They took the red dogs and put them into the same cage as the green dogs, and they started electrocuting the floor. And as expected, the green dogs felt the pain and they immediately jumped across the barrier into safety. But the red dogs, even though they saw the green dogs performing that action, did not move. They just stayed put because they saw success, right? They saw the green dogs escaping from the pain, but they didn't believe that success was possible for them. In other words, the scientists had successfully removed agency from the red dogs. Now we come to the next phase of the experiment, which is a little bit more hopeful. What the scientists do is they literally move the legs of the red dogs for them and help them get across the barrier, like physically move them across the barrier. And even then that didn't work. They had to do it multiple times in order for the red dogs to realize that, well, actually, the pain is optional and they can do something about it. In other words, the scientists were able to give back agency to the red dogs, and the red dogs became more like the green dogs.